Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
And from the border of liberty and prosperity in the highway to the north, this is Safety Wars for Wednesday, January 10th, 2024. I haven't screwed it up yet. Well, what do you mean, Jim? I haven't screwed up the year. It's coming, I assure you, it's coming. How's everybody doing out there tonight? Let me make sure that we're on the air here. Yes, we are on the air. How's everybody doing? We're going to be talking about SMART goals tonight. They're pitfalls for the safety professional. Last week I tried doing this, but we had technical issues. We couldn't do it. So I didn't post everything. I took down the videos and everything else. I don't know what happened, but we're going to do it tonight. And we don't really talk about politics here. We do in a general sense, but we're going to have to talk about it just a little bit tonight on the show. Right? And lack of empathy. What's that all mean? That means a lot. So, people not having empathy. And we wonder why we have issues here. All right, so here we go. Just getting set up here. All right, so on the political end, we have Chris Christie ends his anti-Trump crusade. The bottom line is he was not eligible to take part in the debate on Monday up in New Hampshire. So what he ended up doing was, the primary, I should say. What he ended up just saying, hey, look, that's it. We're done. Cut bait on here. Basically, in 2016, when he ran for president, and with that open field, he ended up with a boatload of debt, and he ended up having to have Donald Trump bail him out, basically. So Donald Trump did a fundraiser for him in 2016 to alleviate his campaign debt, and that was successful. Then Trump became president. He was involved a little bit. I forget what role he had in the administration. He left, and there was other stuff going on, this and that. Now they have a falling out, and you can love or hate Donald Trump. It seems to go either one or two ways. Either you love him or you hate him. And he's out. So he did not make a major endorsement or an endorsement on anybody. He said he was on The View last week. I ended up watching that, unfortunately. And come on, it's a joke. It's a joke. And he ended up with how can I say it? He said basically nobody's challenging Trump in the Republican field. But what I like to point out is this. Regardless of your opinions on everything, we're going to face fact. Let's try to face fact. The one who started with the whole bombastic attitude was Chris Christie. Look at when he was governor, especially during the first term in New Jersey. He was out there with everybody, yelling and screaming, acting like Donald Trump eventually was. And what ended up happening, in my opinion, one man's opinion, one observer's opinion, and remember, I was involved in politics when this happened. What happened was the President Trump, my opinion, went and adopted a lot of Christie's style because that is what got Chris Christie elected here. Because we were tired in New Jersey, right, of, a very nice, person up there, very presidential, acting like governor. And then in the back alleyway, making all different types of deals in the dark rooms, used to be smoke-filled, not anymore, rooms, making deals and doing this thing and that thing. And we had one friend of the program here, I believe he is a friend, who was governor, who had... and those days it was a scandal. Today it would have never been a scandal. And then you had another governor that was all different types of shenanigans, goes back and accusations of voter fraud in 1993. One of my friends did a expose on this, and people were tired of these shenanigans, so they wanted some straight shooter like Chris Christie to go up there and tell you what he felt. Agree with him, disagree with him, let the chips fall where they may. My opinion, Donald Trump adopted a lot of his techniques, saw what was going on in 2012. Trump ran a little bit, but wasn't official, came back in 2016, and the rest is history, so to speak. So for him to go out and criticize Trump, and the way he acts, I don't know, with that. Now, what I don't think is smart for Christie to do is to go out there and trash everybody else in the field. All right, so he was reportedly caught trashing Nikki Haley on a hot microphone. So his words was, Christie caught on hot mic, reportedly said, gonna get smoked. Right, and Chris Christie's launched up presidential bid. This is from Politico.com. The former New Jersey governor never won for softening his elbows. Let it be known how little he thinks of his soon-to-be former competitors just as he exited the political stage. She's going to get smoked, the former New Jersey governor said of former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, although he did not reference her by name. And you and I both know, quote, she is not up to this. Haley stands to gain from most of Christie's departure from the contest. And I don't know. His whole thing is nobody in his campaign was anti-Trump. That did not go over too well with him. I don't know if it was the message or the man on this one with this. Now, second one. All right, and we're going to be talking about politics. It's an election year. I used to follow it a lot. Now, not so much, because you could go nuts watching this. And as I told somebody else, somebody said, Jimmy, why don't you have a political podcast? You'd be really good. With your knowledge and your history, blah, 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 you'd probably be really good. And what do I always say? If you can figure out a way of me making money off of a political podcast, I'm there. And what do you think happens? Right? They run away. They scurry away when you say that. Just like if you have someone who wants to do a business deal with you, right? What I learned was, let me see your tax returns for the last 3 years, or I asked them a question: do you owe money to the IRS? Right? You ask them that, and then they go running away because nobody wants to answer that kind of stuff. And then you get the other thing is where and I shared this story with my son yesterday, and I shared it here on the program several times. Hey, Jim, I don't think that's a good safety rule. Why don't you go up there and argue it? And then in front of whoever the decision maker is, and that decision maker is ready to fire whoever challenges their authority. So they try to set you up with that. And it's sort of like that with politics. Well, we're not going to say anything controversial. So guess what? We want you to say it controversial, Jim, and we'll back you up. Well, you know what? I don't have time for it. So, yeah, that happens. Believe me. Now, back in September, when we were at the HOP conference there in Orlando with the Safety FM people, Jay Allen, Todd Conklin, and the whole cast of experts that were involved in that Conklin conference, right, there in Orlando. Right, one of the things, and I don't think that I'm saying anything proprietary here or anything. If I am, I'm sorry, but how the 5 principles of human and organizational performance, how they can apply to everything, right? And it's like a philosophy. It's not a system. We have plenty of systems, but this is not a system here. Here, and right, this is not a new system of things like our safety people, right? Something happens, so we got to fix something, right? So what happens? You go and fix something, and then it lasts for a month, and then 5 weeks later, something else. Oh, now we're going to have a new thing. And it goes on and on. Then you have people going and investing. Behavior-based safety, behavior-based this program, that program. And it gets repackaged into another program, behavior-based safety. What does it come down to? Blame the worker, blame everybody but management, blame, and shame, and retrain. And that's what it degrades down to, because the people, right? So you're a manager and you feel like, hey, everything's on me. So what we have to do is I have to go and I have to fix things. I have to say something to upper level management, right? And because they don't want to hear the thing, well, groove no happens or stuff happens. You figure it. You know what I mean? So, and then that happens. Well, guess what? We saw this on the national stage for about the last week, maybe a little bit more. And that was with the one here, our Lloyd Austin, our Secretary of Defense. All right? Here. And you got all these commentators out there. Right? And this is from, again, the Politico. President Joe Biden had a two-pronged reaction when he first learned that his defense secretary, Lloyd Austin, had secretly been hospitalized for 4 days. The first part was, is he okay? The second part, how could this happen? Meaning not being informed. Because apparently there's some laws and rules in place that say, well, the person has to be, the president has to be informed, blah, blah, blah. All right, now, let's apply the 5 principles of HOP here. Right? Just so I don't mess them up, let me get out the list. 5 HOP principles. And by the way, it is Wednesday, so we're going to go through this on Wednesday. What the is. So it is Wednesday. Hold on. This is Safety Wars, broadcasting to our brothers and sisters in the occupied territory of behavior-based safety. Get out your secret decoder ring. Here is your nightly message.
Learning is vital. Learning is vital.
All right, so learning is vital. We can arrange these things any old way, and I do this as a tongue-in-cheek here type of thing. So let's talk about them. People make mistakes. The first principle is an acceptance that people are human, and being human means we make mistakes. Number 2, blame fixes nothing. When things go wrong, people want to blame someone. Simple explanations. It's always as simple. And what happens when you blame something? You don't fix anything. Context drives behavior. Learning is vital, and response matters. Now, I'm sorry. We know here, Jimmy Posel, what drives Jimmy Posel nuts? False outrage. Drives a lot of people nuts, but they don't. But what I find happen over the 300 and some programs here, and what I've been the phenomenal stuff I've learned over the last 3 years is this. We try, the key to successfully talking with people, to communicating, to persuading, to talk about the issues. Doesn't matter however you want to say it, is this. If you could articulate what's in the person's heart, then you're going to be much more successful. And that's what we've done here. We try to articulate, and this is what the advantage is with HOP. It articulates what people really know, what their real world experience is. Now, let's look at this. And by the way, I'm reading all, and this is what really annoyed me about this whole thing, is this. Nobody in this, and now they're saying, this is way after the fact, right? The first part in this political, is Austin okay, and how can this happen? All right. That's not what was communicated for the last week, anywhere in there. I've been reading all the articles here. Few and far between, all right? What would have been nice was, you know what? We had a situation here. This is what the president or someone, and there should say. We had a situation where we had a cabinet secretary. He got sick. Real bad health issue here. And maybe it slipped his mind to make all the proper notifications and everything else, because this was a real crisis for him personally. And the nice thing about our government is that we have a lot of capacity here. We have a lot of capacity where if something bad happens or something like this happens or he doesn't report, he's MIA, whatever we want to describe it, we have other people lined up. Well, it really wasn't impacted our national security or anything else. It was more of a pro forma type of situation. But, we want to say to this. We hope that the secretary makes a complete recovery. We hope that we pray. If you believe in prayer, you go out and pray for the Secretary of Defense that he makes a complete recovery, that his family is okay, and everything else. And that's basically it. And by the way, we're going to use this opportunity for educating the public on prostate cancer. And if you want, there's a handout here that we're going to go to, and since you're the government, they probably have their own handouts already from somewhere else, and it's from, we have this one from the American Cancer Society, Prostate Cancer Fact Sheet, right? And the Secretary Austin, he's a 70-year-old African-American male, so obviously he is at a higher risk of getting prostate cancer. But all men are at risk for it. And then maybe you go through and you talk about some of the prevention methods that are out there with this, and then screening, and then you stress screening and early detection here, and then some of the signs and symptoms, and maybe some treatment. And this way, you have a moment of high impact, and you go into this, and you say, you know what, really important, you go to your doctor and get screened for this, especially if you're at higher risk. That would have been the correct way of handling this, some empathy and everything else thrown in there. All right. Now, the fact that he had prostate cancer, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV or the internet, but I know a lot about stuff. All right. Some stuff. And this is one of the things, because one of my family members had a scare about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and we had, and I had been asked by another family member, hey, let's go, what do you know about this? Let's do some research on this, and let's try to come up with some informed decisions with this, where we could all get together on this. So this is how I found out, and I researched a lot of this stuff. All right, and basically, he had been, my understanding, based on the publicly available information, was that he was diagnosed with this fairly recently, and he went in for surgery, which indicates to me that this is probably not stage 1 cancer, maybe stage 2 cancer. So this is a little bit more advanced. He might have had it for a number of years. Now, this is what we call adding context to this stuff not being reported. Right? So the guy probably has stage 2 cancer. All right. That's the context. End of the year. He probably goes, and there's a little speculation here, but just a little speculation, because we deal with people and we know end of the year, people have some vacation days saved up. Now, not a lot going on in the office. So you go out there and you say, you know what? I'm going to quietly take care. Hey, I'm just taking a couple of days off. Here are the keys to the file cabinet. We're going to blah, blah, blah. And then you go out and you probably thought, well, we're going to quickly take care of this. This is like minor surgery to do whatever here. And then go out and, and then he had complications. And now he has complications. I think I'm willing to forgive the guy for this, right? Because that's the kind of person I try to be, is forgiving. Here is, okay, yeah, he didn't make the necessary notifications, but on the other hand, look at what he's facing personally. He didn't make the notifications that he was going to be out. Okay? All right. So, again, that's all context, right? Blame fixes nothing. Well, shame on him, he didn't report it. Okay, great. He didn't report this. Do better next time. Empathy. People make mistakes. He made a mistake. Okay. That's all right. He made a mistake. He apologized for it. Hey, we won't do that again. Blah, blah, blah. Well, this is a real serious thing, Jim. Well, yeah, it is serious. He didn't... you have procedures. But the thing is, how many times do we bend rules? Do we break rules? Rules are administrative things. Remember on that hierarchy of controls things that we talk about. Rules are an administrative function. All right? There we go. The least reliable way of doing anything is to make a rule. All right? Response matters. Their response matters. They look like, this is how I see it with this. All right? This is the way I see it. You have both sides of the aisle jumping down this guy's throat. Well, you didn't do this. You didn't make the notification. You didn't do all this crap. Nothing happened. The system allowed us to fail safely here. Pardon me. Allowed us to fail safely here. All right. Yeah, there were no issues. Why are we going after this guy? A little bit of empathy here, and we wonder with people, well, this could have been a home run for everybody involved. Both sides of the political aisle. Instead, they unite. Rather than unite in a positive way, and maybe giving you some moment of high impact, we could talk about prostate cancer. We could talk about this. Hey, okay, we hope he gets better. Make it into a positive thing. They're both, he didn't do this. He didn't do that. Come on, guys. We wonder why that belief we have a problem in this country with everybody at each other's throats all the time. Everyone's afraid to move. No, we have a lot of good people in this country that could probably run this country competently. Both sides of the aisle here. Maybe they'd be more in the middle area, maybe. All right? That could do, but they're afraid because they're going to get jumped. They're jumping people down their throats and everything. Come on. Now, I'm going to say this. I hope the guy makes a complete recovery. Right? I'm going to tell you, go on over to a legitimate charity like American Cancer Society for prostate cancer and things of that nature. Yes, I do have a family member that works for a cancer charity and a close family member. No, it's important to get legitimate information and very important information there on all this stuff, regardless of cancer. Make it into a positive thing. And I think they missed a huge opportunity there with this. And let's try not to be at each other's throats, right? And I'm going to go to commercial break, and we're going to come back with smart goals.
In the professional safety community, communication and planning are just a few keys to your program's success. The question many practitioners have is, where do I start? Dr. Jay Allen, the creator of the Safety FM platform and host of the Rated R Safety Show, has built a global foundation to help you along the way. Go to safetyfm.com and listen to some of the industry's best and most involved professionals, including Blaine Hoffman with the Safety Pro, Sam Goodman with the Hop Nerd, Sheldon Primus with the Safety Consultant, Jim Pozell with Safety Wars, Emily Elrod with Unapologetically Bold, and many others. As individuals, we can do great things, but as a team, we become amazing. Dial into safetyfm.com today and surround yourself with a powerful force of knowledge and support.
OSHA recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Posel with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy.
Yes, I am your father. All right. Now, what happened? Now, my introduction is SMART goals. All right. Back in the refining industry, I was a contractor for many, many, many years. When I left it, over half my career was in oil refineries, oil terminals, petrochemical situations, spills, the whole 9 yards on that. And one of the things we had to always come up with were SMART goals. And what are they, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And we used to struggle a lot of times at the beginning, right? Especially with some of my clients on writing these SMART goals. Because what happened is this. You need to have, if you're going to be successful with SMART goals, it has to be a team effort. You, the safety professional, cannot come up with SMART goals for the company. Why? Because most of the time, you're going to need everyone else to do things. So, for example, a SMART goal that a safety professional at a company might be able to come up with is we're going to rewrite a safety program. We're going to redo a trainings program. We're going to do all this stuff, right, where I can control. And we ended up doing that a lot of times. Okay, we saw a hole in our system, weakness, or something, or maybe it could be regulatory, it could be common sense, it could be industry standard, it could be whatever. And okay, I can handle that. Maybe on the paperwork end, right? But we remember, paperwork is only one small part of safety. You have to get the whole team involved in a SMART goal. Now, what ends up happening is this. If you do not have this consensus and you have SMART goals, you run into problems. Because, if you're relying, for example, on people reporting, in that whole behavior-based safety, we're going to report things, and we're going to record things, you need other people doing it. You need the supervisors doing it. You need the foreman doing it. You need the workers doing it. You need everybody doing it. So this is like a bad thing to do. Some of the pitfalls, in my opinion of this, some of the pitfalls that I see is this. You write SMART goals, and those SMART goals get whipped out at some time. And what ends up happening is that they get it, hey, you didn't meet your goal. Well, again, we just went over human organizational performance. What was the context? Why didn't you hit the goal? Things of that nature. And what often happens more than not, my experience is this. We don't want to hear about your excuses why you didn't hit your goal. Well, you got, we had an agreed upon goal, right? You can allocate the resources for me meeting that goal. Or there were a whole bunch of other things that came on, accidents, injuries, it doesn't matter what it is. Or my job changed and everything. How are we supposed to meet that goal? So if you're a safety professional, you got to be very careful that it's not you coming up with the goals, because you need everybody together. Because if they don't meet the goal, you're going to get the blame. Most organizations, I'm sorry, most organizations are not run by fully self-actualized, non-psychopathic persons. Way it is, in my experience. If you work with an organization where everybody's fully self-actualized, people care about each other and everything else, you're working for a wonderful organization. Don't ever leave. All right? Psychologically safe and everything else. What is a business's primary goal? Again, it's a philosophy. Is it to make money, or is it to provide a service? And that service could be all different types, come in many different forms. Primarily, it's to make money. That's the way it is. So, take it for what it is. You don't meet a goal, whatever. You make it up. That's what's going to be the primary thing, is to make goals. And that's the whole safety third kind of thing, is to make money type of thing. And I say safety fourth. But anyway, I don't want to get off on a tangent. So they got to be specifics. Pick a specific goal. Right? Get people on, well, this is what we're going to do. X, Y, and Z. A good one might be, rather than say we're going to do so many near miss and good catch reports, we're going to do this, pick a training program. We're going to train the workforce in X, Y, and Z. You could give us a call, 845-269-5772, because I am lining up annual training programs for all my customers this week, right? Some of them get back to me, end of the year kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, everything can. So now we are in a program. I have customers in annual programs. Then number 2, measurable. How are you going to measure this stuff? Training programs are good. You just give them out and they do training. Good, right? They do the training. Now, what we want to do is, how effective is that training? Is that training being used in the field? So if you have a whole training program on, let's say, personal protective equipment, is your personal protective equipment being used better? You being used more? Appropriate? Things of that nature. You don't have to go out there and remind the same 5 people to put on hard hats or safety glasses or whatever. Is it being effective? Is it measurable? Yeah, we did the training, but what's the impact? No, you can easily measure that most of the time. Achievable. Is it likely going to be achievable? Are you setting that goal up on a pedestal somewhere? Oh, yeah, we could, and it's high in the sky, and you can't, no. You have to say, well, is this an achievable goal? This is what the idea of getting everybody on board is, right? If you have everybody on board at the organization with your goal, now you're more likely to achieve that goal depending on what it is on that. Then what's relevant, right? Here's what you need to think about the big picture. Is it relevant? So, for example, find out and do a needs assessment. I would tell you what, go and do what's called a learning team. We talked about learning teams already. This is the everyday learning team thing. Hey, what do we do on that everyday learning team, aka audit? Well, how do we do work? How is it done? How could we improve it? Number 1. Number 2, you can have a incident learning team. When you have an incident, it's a response to an incident. You go out there and you figure things out. Oh, okay, hey, now we're able to do this. We're able to set a goal maybe because we had an incident or something. Then you have a management of change. What's up and coming in the field? That now we can do that type of thing. And then is it time bound? Usually we give, and you say, well, we can have this achieved in 1 year, in 6 months, in 2 years. Hey, your goal could be 2 years. But you have to, but the fact of the matter is this. You need to go and get everybody involved and make sure that it's achievable. Because this is what happens. Well, it's really nice that we have these SMART goals, but we never achieve them. And guess what? You're to blame. No one's going to take the blame with this stuff. No one's going to take the blame for this stuff if it doesn't happen. So you got to be very careful with this. I've seen this go, really south, really horribly, because people don't put in the effort for this stuff, don't put in anything in with it. So be smart. Now come to think, let me see if I have a list of SMART goals here that we used to do. I'm going to do this. Let's Google safety SMART goals. Maybe we have something. Yeah, I was prepared, but I'm doing this and you start talking and here we go. So this is from the California Department of Industrial Relations. And what they have, identifying measurable safety goals. Right? What to avert total recordable incident rates. Really important thing. Why? Because accidents happen at random. That would be a very dangerous thing. Total recordable incident rate. Number of incidents. Because what happens? That's the same thing as 0 accidents, 0 incidents, 0 illnesses sign out there. People are going to cover things up. Right? And usually this is what happens. Injuries get covered up, right? Then the manager gets promoted or leaves the company 2 or 3 years later. And now a new manager comes in, and guess what? All of a sudden, injury rates go up. Why? Because things are being reported. Happened many times to us. So here's some outcome-based activity, and this is from ohio.gov, right? So here we have safety goals and measurements. And these are all outcome-based, activity-based safety goals and measurements. Development of specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-sensitive goals is important to the success of any safety and health program. Unfortunately, many people make the mistake of focusing solely on the desired outcomes in the development of their goals. They fail to develop activity-based goals that will help them to get those outcomes. Okay, so you try to do activity-based goals with this, right? To do things, and you set the stage to create a safe environment. Safety, psychological safety in there, where you're going to be able to get reports and set the stage, so to speak, so you have a better outcome. Now, they fail to develop activity-based goals. To increase the chances of success, develop both activity-based and outcome-based goals. Examples, and here they give you examples. An outcome-based goal, I can guarantee you this, you're going to fail. Percent reduction in OSHA recordable injuries. Guess what? If that's what your goal is, how the hell are you going to get there? How is that achievable? Percent reduction in workers' compensation claims. Percent reduction in workers' compensation costs. Reduction in vehicle accidents per mile. These are all dangerous things you got to be very careful with. I would avoid. Improvement in corporate audit results. Okay, we can do. What does that mean, though? Reduction in observed hazards. Well, guess what? If you're going to be measuring something, I can guarantee you're not going to see as much. It's not going to be as reported. Reduction in average cost per claim. That's very adversarial. Frequency of all injuries and illnesses, lost time injuries, severity, absentee rates, productivity per employee rates, production error rates, incidents of workplace violence, incidents of accidental releases, self-audits for regulatory compliance, and going on, statistical tracking, all this other stuff. Very difficult. OSHA audit, no citations. Okay, great. It all depends on, if OSHA comes out and audits you, They're doing it for a reason, number one. Number two, it all depends on the expertise and the focus of that auditor. They have their own biases put in there. And I'm not saying anything against OSHA, right? So, for example, if you have an electrician, a person who's an electrician by trade, doing your safety audit, even from OSHA, where do you think they're going to focus on? Electrical. Let's say that there is a complaint about electrical stuff in the OSHA office. They're more likely to send you someone who's familiar with electrical stuff to do the audit, the compliance professional with that. Now, an activity-based goal. Investigations need to be completed on time. That's a good one, right? Investigation identifies causes. Investigation identifies an action plan. I know we all have debates on this, right? Causes and what causes an accident. Are you implementing those action plans? Are safety meetings held as scheduled? This is one of the, especially when you're dealing with an accelerated schedule and you're under a lot of scheduling pressures. Getting to hold the safety meeting at the same time every week and consistently could be a problem because everyone's in a hurry. Agenda promoted in advance. How I interpret that is, do you have a plan? Safety records updated and posted. Okay. Inspections conducted. Inspection findings brought to closure. Management safety communications. Management safety participation. All these things set the stage. Near miss, near hit reports. Disciplinary violation reports. Right? All this, some of it's negative. Going on and on and on. But you're basically setting the stage for success with an activity-based goal. So I'm going to save that one there with that. And that's all I have on SMART goals. Just be very careful with the SMART goal that you choose. That's the moral of the story. We're going to go to commercial break here as I set up the next.
Have you listened or watched the Safety War Show? It does stream live on the radio and on the streamer-emers that we have. So if you have not taken a listen to Jim Posel and what the hell he's doing every evening with Safety Wars, I would strongly encourage you to take a view or take a listen, whichever option is available for you, and take a listen to what the hell he has going on. It will take some deep dives in some information that you might be interested in.
You are listening to Safety Wars. Tomorrow's Safety Today.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces. Okay, we are back. This is from, and I'm going to do a share screen on here. Oh, we are already doing a share screen. Okay. All right. Here we have, this is going to be a good one. OSHA finally has updated its started posting 2024 press releases. But I'm going to give you a hint. We normally go over the Department of Labor. That in this case was 9 days ahead of OSHA. Issuing OSHA press releases. So you go figure. A 36-year-old mower operator drowned after the mower rolled over in a pond, pinning the worker underwater. Federal workplace safety investigators determined the employer could have avoided the incident by following required safety measures outlined in the Equipment Operator's Manual. Again, I was asked to evaluate some equipment. What's the first thing I did? Where's the operating manual? Oh, well, Jimmy, we don't have that. Well, we need to get it. What's the name of the equipment? Let me go and look it up. Very important that you do that. An investigation into the July 4th, 2023 incident by OSHA found the employee of a certain company was riding a zero-turn lawnmower in a residential neighborhood when it tipped over into a water retention pond. Investigators learned that the machine's rollover protection system was not engaged while operating on a sloping embankment near the pond, and the equipment was operated on a slope that exceeded limitations defined in the equipment manual. OSHA cited the employer for one willful violation for not having a rollover protection system in use for operating the equipment on a steep slope, and one serious violation for not providing potable water for drinking. Again, remember, they had a heat stress focus here. So, got to remember that. The agency cited the same company after a similar fatal incident in July 2015. In that investigation, OSHA issued 5 serious citations and a proposed $18,200 in penalties. Once again, the company's failure to, and I'm not mentioning the name of the company, you can go look it up, to implement required safety measures has cost the life of a worker, said OSHA Area Office Director Danielle Jindra in Tampa. Employers are responsible for ensuring the correct equipment is used for each change in the work environment, and that workers are protected from hazards with that. Now, let's see what we have here. Hey, they got this. Now, right? I always love it when they put up links. Okay, citation 1, item 1. Potable water was not provided in all places of employment for drinking, washing of the person, cooking, washing of fluids, washing of cooking or eating utensils, washing of food preparation. On or about July 4th, at the work site, they're working on July 4th, the employer did not provide drinking water for employees conducting landscaping activities in high heat conditions. Again, focus on heat illnesses. How much does water cost? Right, well, I can guarantee it costs less than $10,046. Citation 2, item 1. Type of violation, willful serious. Now, they're saying an X mark. Now, let's see if we can find this, right? The employer did not furnish, this is a general duty clause of violation here. And as a review, what's a general duty clause violation? OSHA has to prove 4 different things. The employer failed to keep the workplace free of a hazard to which employees of that employer were exposed. The hazard was recognized. The hazard was causing or likely to cause death or serious physical harm, and there was a feasible, useful method to correct the hazard. Now, what I would suggest, especially if you have to write emails to whoever that it's a general duty clause violation, that you include this, right, in that letter. I had to do that a couple of weeks ago with somebody. I said, look, there's no OSHA regulation for this or recommendation. However, this is a recognized hazard, and we're failing to keep the workplace free of it. The hazard is recognized. I'm recognizing it. Number 3, if this thing causes a problem, it's going to be death or serious harm. And by the way, this is how we fix it. Right? And here it is. We have what is called an X-mark lawnmower. Apparently it rolled over. So let's go over and let's see. I do this on the air because I want to see how quick we could find the X-mark general mower safety tips. 1, read and understand your operator manual. 2, do not add gasoline to a running hot engine. Do not operate the lawnmower when consuming alcohol. Wear appropriate clothing. Pick stones, toys, and debris, or debris, as my mother would say, from the lawn to prevent injuries and damage from flying objects. Never allow children to be passengers there. Keep children and pets at a safe distance. Right? Be careful when mowing on slopes. And follow directions, right, on this. My point here is this. Very easy to look up the information. We have owner's manuals on top of owner manuals on top of owner manuals here. What I like about it, everything is 1 page long. The idea here is this. The instruction manuals are available, are 100% available here. I don't know. That's usually what I hear. I'm not saying this is necessarily what happened here, but that's usually what I hear. All right. So, among other methods, a feasible and acceptable abatement method to correct this hazardous condition would be to ensure operators are not operating on the edge near drop-offs, steep embankments, water ditches, and rocks. Ensure the roll bar is raised and in the locked position while operating the mower. Develop and implement an operator training program. Yeah, you have to train people on how to use a lawnmower. Prior to the use of the mower, determine the angle of the slopes to be moved with the slope indicator. There's a slope indicator, and only mow slopes that are within the limitations of the mower. That was $156,000. They hit them up for the maximum. So what's my point here? Some of the other things. So here you have a lawnmower. You can say, well, Jimmy, I don't think we need to train people on how to use a lawnmower. Yeah, you do. Got to train everybody on everything. It's just the way it is. Or, no, as part of the interview process, show me how to inspect a ladder. Tell me about a ladder. I used to go, when I would interview people that were safety professionals, I would do stuff like that. Oh, what are you looking for on a ladder? Here's a picture of a job site. Explain to me what some of the hazards are here. That's the way I would do it. Again, training on it. Take them out. Hey, go through the instruction manual. Go through, have them sign a safety meeting form. Oh, yeah, this is how you do it, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is this. You don't have them sign something and send them on their merry old way, la, 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 la. And then you go down and, go down to the coffee shop there. I won't mention the one, that Seattle-based one. And, hang out there all day, drinking coffee and eating chocolate croissants. You got to go back there and audit the person and say, hey, what's the issue here? Let's audit them. Are they doing this? Because I told them to do something, they didn't do it. That sort of thing. Right? So it is. Now you may say, well, this is like a joke. Training people on how to do all simple things that they should know. Guess what? It's going to get worse. There is an article up here tonight that I was going to share. I didn't share it on people not being able, right? The military especially is coming up with shortfalls in recruitment, and all because the kids aren't interested in it, that career. Okay, number one. Number two, if they do get them in there, they have to train them on everything. Why? Because they don't know. They know computers. They know smartphones, right? They know video games. They don't know how to go out there and do simple, basic things. Way it is. That's why I'll put in the plug for the Boy Scouts. Boy Scouts helps kids a lot of times learning this stuff. But anyway, that's all I got for tonight. No, I'm trying to keep these under 1 hour, these programs. And for Safety Wars, it's Jim Posel. We're going to do our outro here, and we'll see you tomorrow.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.